Hey guys, welcome to Nerdarchy for Nerds by Nerds. I'm Nerdarchist Ryan, and I'm joined here today by
Nerdarchist Dave.
I'm Nerdarchist Ted.
And in this Game Master Tips today, we're going to talk about game mastering to your strengths.
If you want tips, why don't you jump down to the description below. You can sign up for Nerdarchy, the newsletter, and you can also learn how to game with Nerdarchy there.
So what is this video about?
Right, so it's about
Like lifting weights?
That's
Get my weight up?
exactly. You want to like get good triceps and biceps and take your vitamins. Say your prayers, brother.
And blood, sweat, and tears.
Yeah, blood, sweat, and tears. And
So
take
you're going to
vitamins.
use your strength to physically beat down your players.
Exactly, or,
Right.
or big heavy RPG books. So your third edition collection, you just stack a few together and beat somebody with it. So everyone as a game master has the things that they do better than others. And by and large, like, all right, so if you're playing a D&DS game, combat's going to be a pretty substantial part of the game. At least 25%, if not more. 50, 75, depending. But I think you're best served by doubling down on the things that you know you do well at the table, and maybe try to mitigate the things that you don't enjoy as much, or just not focus on those things, by and large. Like for me, I like to really try to do something with like some emotional poignancy with NPCs, and like do a little bit of that portrayal, and then just have a few marquee, like, interesting combat encounters. And for the most part, players are going to enjoy that experience. And also, this is catering to your table, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you have players that all they want to do is thespian it up and talk all the time, like, I don't know if I'd want to game master that roleplay heavy of a game and always have to think on my feet of the inner life of the NPCs.
You got any comments?
Well, no. Basically, you're going to get more returns on focusing on things that you excel at than trying to practice and get better at things you're not good at. So
Address them to the extent you might need to for the game, but yeah.
Well, as with anything, practice will allow you to get better, but allow your players to enjoy the game more by, as you said, playing to your strength.
The game that you're better at running.
Yeah, I feel that I'm actually really good at improv. I've actually done stage acting. So
You know, but we've always actually said improve. I'm sorry, you've just misheard it.
So I do that a lot. I have brief ideas about where the story can possibly go, and then I feed off of what the players decide to do, and sometimes the adventure goes in another alien direction than what I've got planned, and I just run with it.
And then you just put xenomorphs in the game.
I was thinking Predators personally, but then you know Aliens vs. Predator.
Yeah, so what really got me thinking about this topic too was watching on Roleplay The West Marches with Steve Lumpkin. So he's a level designer for this first-person MMO for 40K, the 40K Warhammer universe. And so he's very much a game designer. And when you watch The West Marches, and as he starts to like hack the system, you realize he has tables for his tables for his tables, right? Like he's automated everything in the game to the point where his game has an algorithm to it, an internal logic. And it's not, you would think that this would be super boring, but like once he like gets the kinks worked out and everything, it actually flows pretty well, and like he's able to pull up his tables and reference them really quickly. That he has all these different seeds in his mind, and they're generated by the players encountering it on his roll table, and he runs it from there. So he's doing this.
It's a cyberjack. That's his real strength. He has a cyberjack.
He really has a cyberjack to the back of his brain. But yeah, no. So he has all these like kernels of adventures that he can kind of pull up at the moment's notice, and he's like seeding the world as the players discover it and placing the things as they encounter it. You know, so it's kind of neat in that regard. And there's other, you know, like Matt Mercer. Like he's one hell of a voice actor, and like him bringing those NPCs to life is truly the magic of the game, you know. So, do you guys have anything to add on that?
More stuff and stuff.
Yeah.
No, you know, to what you're talking about, what you're saying is like Ted said, everybody can get better at doing doing things that they're not good at, right? You can improve, because being a GM incorporates a lot of different skill sets, improv, preparation, rules knowledge.
A little bit of game design, because you're probably going to make some things here and there. And so, say encounter design or game design isn't your strongest point, like, you might be able to find resources that are going to help you on that. Like, you could buy some pre-published stuff and just steal the encounters. Your players are going to never know. You could find collections of magic items and just use those if designing magic items isn't your strong suit or something that you particularly enjoy.
Well, the other thing too, like, listen to TED Talk and about, spending time improving, like, the skills that you're not good at. The chances are you're not going to enjoy that.
Yeah.
And that's going to take away, I think, from what you can deliver at the table.
Right.
By really assessing and knowing what you're good at and what you like doing and focusing on those aspects of the game, you're gonna be able to present a better game for your players. Yeah. Because you're into it. You're jiving with whatever that is, whether it's social interaction, exploration, or combat. Whether it's your descriptions, or maybe you really excel at your prep work and that makes your game flow really well. So other people, the prep work actually might detract from the game that they run, because they get super laser focused in on that material they've written, and it makes them inflexible during the game, because I've seen this happen.
That's where I used to be. I used to over plan, and I ran things, and it was a steamroller. So I moved away from that over planning. Now, I just tend to go with more spitball stuff, and so far people have been enjoying the game that I've been running, and we're almost at 20 sessions.
Some DMs are going to be really good at just feeding off what their players give them, and rolling with it, and that kind of like builds the session as they go. Sure, it's a railroad, but this railroad, they're laying the tracks as they go, kind of deal.
Well, and also too, like,
it's the player's railroad and the GM.
Isn't a roller coaster a railroad, and isn't a roller coaster still fun, right? Like, so sometimes, like, say if you're not that great at coming up with an interesting plot, and you do run a pre-published adventure, just don't be rigid in what that pre-published adventure. Like, if players have good solutions to the problems presented in that pre-published book, sure, use that as like your trajectory. But if the players like drift one way or another, just figure out a way for that to work, and try to, even if you're going to be a little rigid, find a way to bow a little bit, with the breeze. And so I was also thinking about this idea of, like, what if somebody's not a great world builder? Maybe they don't want to invest a lot of time in it. Maybe they don't have the time. So pre-published, like, campaign settings and worlds yeah. So it's just another way that if that's not a strength for you, here's a way to mitigate that weakness.
You use the resources that are already out there to bolster what you feel is lacking.
Well, not only that, like, those places come populated with NPCs, and like the cities are already laid out, like the places are
plot
there
hooks for things.
You don't have to, you don't have to figure that stuff out. Even if the players do go off the beaten path, like,
you have where that path is going to lead to, that off trail path.
The information's already there. All you have to do is tap into it.
Right.
So again, at the end of the day, it just comes down to figuring out what you're good at, and really trying to cram that into your games. Not necessarily down the throats of your players, but into your games. And then you can't ignore the areas that you're not good at, but you can put less emphasis on them.
Right. And while you're being forced into those things that you're not good at, over time you will get.
You're still going to make some gains.
Practice makes perfect.
Oh, improvement, not perfect.
No, practice garners improvement. So therefore, the more you GM, the better you're going to be at it.
And at the end of the day, like, hopefully you're playing this game with your friends, and it's a game. You're there to hang out, have fun, and tell cool stories, or kill monsters.
Yeah, and have some Cheetos and Mountain Dew. So in the comments below, you want to put what your strengths are as a GM, and possibly what your weaknesses are. Don't forget to comment, share, subscribe, and like.
You can tweet at us over on Twitter,
or you can check out the articles over on nerdarchy.com.
So until next time,
stay nerdy.